In a pale-lit discount grocery, a teen cashier gets overwhelmed as a line grows and a sharp-tongued customer cuts him down. A city bus driver on a tight schedule steps in to bag, covers a shortfall with his own card, and risks being late to his route. The act exposes quiet burdens and nudges several strangers towards small kindnesses, changing the room without a speech. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hey, where are you tuning in from? Leave your country in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories reach. At the discount grocery on Maple and 3rd, the lights made everything look a little. The kid at Register 3 had a name tag that read Luis, but no one said it. People talked to the screen, to their lists, to the totals. He stood in the draft of the door and scanned, double beeps stacking in his head like traffic. His vest was a size too big. His knuckles were scabbed around the edges, as if he snagged them on boxes. He moved his hands like he'd been taught, smooth and small, like he wanted to take up less air. It started with a woman in a blue blazer and a cart full of boxes. She looked expensive, but tired, like her shoes cost a lot, and her patience didn't. She tapped the cart handle with a fingernail, fast. Her eyes tracked the screen like a hawk, her jaw set when a barcode wouldn't read. "Price check," he said, voice thin. He reached for the red handset and missed the cradle twice. The woman exhaled through her nose. Headset guy arrived chewing gum, eyes already annoyed. He was taller than needed, shirt too tight across the chest, a headset blinking blue at his ear. He looked at the kid the way people look at a math problem they didn't ask for. "What is it now?" he said, but mostly to the air. The baby at cart 2 started to fuss, a red face under a knit. The mom bounced the cart handle with one hand and fished for a pacifier with the other. The line made a soft animal sound some size, a cough, a throat clear that hoped to be a hint. The screen blinked, declined, and might as well have shouted. The kid's thumb smudged the corner as he tried again. Same blink. The woman in the blazer rolled her shoulder like she'd just remembered something else she had to be mad about. "Maybe try doing one thing right," she said, not that loud, but shaped to cut. The kid's ears went pink. A couple people in line looked at their shoes. A man behind her wore a reflective jacket with BUS printed on the back and oil stains on the sleeve. His beard was a few days late. He had kind eyes that didn't announce themselves. He set a small basket down bread, peanut butter, little bag of carrots, and rubbed a thumb over a nick on the handle. He glanced at the tiny silver watch on his wrist and counted in his head. The bus schedule lived in him like a second spine. He had 9 minutes before he had to be back around the block to take the wheel. If he wanted to stay on time, he could wait like everyone. He could watch. He said, "Excuse me," then slid past his cart to the end of the counter. He didn't go near the register. He went where the bags lived, under the metal lip where everyone forgets they can help. He looked at the kid, not over him. "You mind if I bagged?" he asked. "I can bag while you fix the price," he said to the headset, calm like a promise. The headset guy made a face like Rules had just texted him, but he shrugged. The woman in the blazer lifted her chin. The line watched as if a small animal had stepped onto a busy road. He held up both hands. "No touching the money," he said, like he was setting a boundary for himself, not asking permission. He ripped open the plastic bags with one neat snap and pulled them down over his forearm like sleeves. He started stacking boxes in a neat wall, bread and eggs on top like a roof. He moved quick but careful. He didn't crush the chips. He made space for the woman's face to soften by not looking at it. The kid's shoulders dropped 1 inch. "Price is a promo," headset guy said finally, chewing less now. He hit keys. The screen adjusted. The woman's card caught the stripe this time. She signed the pad like it owed her. The mum behind her rubbed the baby's back and juggled a bag. The baby reached for the shiny badge on the man's jacket. He smiled and jiggled the keys out of reach. "Little guy likes chrome," he said to no one in particular. When the next cart came up short by $7, a mix-up with the coupon, the line exhaled again, ready for the groan of it. The kid swallowed. He looked at the ceiling as if the answer might be up there with the dead moths. He slid his card and covered the extra $7 without making a face. He did it with a tiny tilt of the wrist, like a magician doing nothing to show you something was happening. "Keep the line moving," he said, half to the room, half to himself. The mum looked at him like he'd rescued her from a ditch, and she didn't know how to say it. He thumbed his phone and said, "D12, 2 minutes late, line at store, voice low." Dispatch crackled back something he already knew. He nodded, like you nod to a fact, not a person. He tucked the phone away. The air changed, like someone cracked a window in a stuffy room. People shifted from angry to helpful, the way a street goes from slick to... A teen in a puffy jacket began bagging her own cans. The woman in the blazer stared at the smudges on her phone and said nothing else. He peeled a bus sticker from his wallet and handed it to the baby. The baby stopped fussing like a switch had been found. The mum mouthed, "Thank you." He nodded once. No big speech. The headset guy explained the promo code to the kid without sharp edges in his voice. When the receipt finally came out, the man in the reflective jacket stepped back like he'd never been there. He wiped his hands on his jacket out of habit and lifted his basket. He didn't look for applause. He didn't look at the receipts taped on the wall like wanted posters for mistakes. The kid said, "Thanks," very small. He didn't say more because more would make it break. The jacket man lifted 2 fingers in a casual salute, the way drivers do, and turned. He jogged out into the cold, breath-white bus brakes sighing at the curb. The driver's seat was empty and waiting, the wheel big and steady like a ship. He took the steps 2 at a time. A horn tapped once, not mean, just a reminder, and he lifted a hand in apology. The other driver pointed at an imaginary watch and smiled a tired smile that said, "I get it." He slid in and felt the seat remember him. He tucked a photo of a gap-toothed girl back into the visor and eased into traffic. He drove a little softer for a few blocks. He let a couple late runners grab the pole at the last second. No one in the back knew why the bus felt kinder. Back at the store, the hum settled into a workable buzz. The kid's hands found a rhythm again. He tucked a loose curl behind his ear. He kept the line moving. Not like a rule, but like a gift to himself. The kid checked his phone under the counter. A text from Sis with a photo of a coil of clear tubes. He held his breath without meaning to. The photo had a caption with a time. He could read the math of it with his eyes. The message said, "Dad's oxygen was down and asked for milk." That was it. No crying emojis. No guilt. Just the light facts of a house full of machines. Headset guy stayed there and showed him the trick of the number key. "If the promo doesn't take, you hit this twice," he said. He tapped gently. No sigh. "Also, if someone gets on you, call me sooner." The kid made a small noise that could be a laugh. The woman in the blue blazer held the door for the next person and didn't say anything. Her face looked less sharp in the reflection. She tucked her hair behind her ear and kept walking into her own problems. The young mom bagged for the person behind her, baby now chewing the bus sticker. The sticker hung off her cheek like a medal. The next person smiled like it cost nothing, which it didn't, and still felt. That night, the bus pulled up to a stop, and the driver waited an extra beat for a man with a cane. He would have waited anyway, maybe. But this wasn't maybe. He knew what 2 minutes could hold. It didn't fix much, if you measured big. The rent still wanted what it wanted. The oxygen machine still beeped on certain hours. The bus still had a schedule that didn't care about groceries. But for a few people in a pale light, the knot in the day loosened. A room that had been all push-eased back into a rhythm. A kid who mostly got talked at got spoken to. A man who spends his hours saying, "Back door" to strangers, got to... He flipped the sign to closed and watched the bus turn the corner, taillights 2 steady dots in the dark. He stuck the milk in his backpack, next to a folded coupon he didn't need anymore. The bell over the door rang once and then went quiet, and the floor took a breath it hadn't had time for.